look at the Islamic troops leaving for the Battle of Jama. The commander was Zaid bin Haritsah. Also pay attention to the Islamic troops who fought in the Thoif War, Ishi War, Hizmi War, and other wars. The commander was Zaid bin Haritsah. Is that so, as we have heard from Mu'minin, Aisha radiallahu anha? Every time the Prophet included Zaid in an army, he must have been appointed as the leader. Finally, came the infamous Mut'ah War. At that time, the Romans with their old empire, began to fear Islam. In fact, they see Islam as a threat to their existence, especially in the Sham region, which is their colony, bordering with Islamic countries that are moving with a burning passion. That's why the Romans wanted to make Syria a springboard to conquer the Arabian Peninsula in Islamic countries. The Prophet read the sign. He decided to preempt them with a surprise attack and awaken them to the capability of the Islamic forces to resist. In the month of Jumadil-Ula, the 8th year of Hijrah, the Islamic forces moved to Balqa, in the Siam region. On the Siam border, they faced Roman troops led by Heraclius, who were assisted by immigrant tribes living on the border. The Roman troops took place in an area called Masyarif, while the Islamic troops took position near the Mut'ah area. Then, this war is called the Mut'ah War. Rasulullah really knows the importance of this war. Because of that, he chose 3 commanders from those who were known as worshippers at night and mujahids during the day. 3 men were chosen who had sold themselves for God. They only have one desire and aspiration, namely to be martyred on the battlefield in order to earn the pleasure of Allah, then be able to see His face. They will become warlords in succession. Zaid bin Haritsah, Ja'far bin Abi Talib, and Abdullah bin Rawaha. May Allah be pleased with them, and make them pleased with Him. Also may Allah be pleased with all generations of companions. Thus, when the troops were about to leave, the apostle stood before them and ordered, "You must submit to Zaid bin Haritsah. If he dies, the leadership is taken over by Ja'far bin Abi Talib, and if Ja'far also dies, then his position is replaced by Abdullah bin Rawaha." Even though Ja'far bin Abi Talib, who was also the apostle's cousin, was the person closest to the Prophet's heart. Even though he was brave, from among the nobility, even still the Prophet's cousin, the Prophet still appointed him as the second commander who would replace the first commander, namely Zaid, if he died. Like this, the Prophet confirmed a principle that Islam as a new religion eradicates bad relationships and replaces them with relationships based on real human values. It was as if the apostle had known the course of the battle that would take place. He determined the order of his commanders in order: Zaid, Ja'far, then Abdullah bin Rawaha. It turned out that the 3 commanders were martyred successively on the battlefield. When the Islamic forces learned that the number of Roman troops was around 200,000 soldiers, a number they did not expect at all, they were shocked. But, when does a battle of faith consider sums of numbers? The Islamic forces continued to advance fearlessly, regardless of the large number of enemies. In the front row, one can see their commander, Zaid, riding his horse swiftly, holding tightly to the troops' flag. It flitted back and forth in the crevices with arrows, spearheads and swords of the enemy. He does not seek victory in war, but prefers the promised paradise for those who died on the battlefield. In Zaid's eyes, what appeared was not the desert of Balka, or the Roman army, but friends of heaven whose green waves waved like flags, who greeted him like newlyweds. He swung his sword swiftly, but not to kill the enemy, but to open his way to a sprawling beautiful garden of eternity at the side of his Lord. Finally, Zaid got his dream. His spirit, which was flying to heaven, smiled at the body he had left behind. The body is not wrapped in fine silk, but covered in holy blood that flows to fight for Allah's religion. His smile grew full of serenity when he saw the second commander-in-chief, Ja'far, dart like an arrow released from his bow, grabbing the flag of the Islamic forces before it hit the ground. Thanks for watching. Don't forget like, comment, share and subscribe.